Good afternoon and welcome to the live stream functional class on how to file your 1094s and 1095s in Sage 300. We're going to be utilizing Aatrix in order to complete the actual filing. So we are going to go over what's the difference between the 1094B, 1094C. We're going to go through some payroll settings in Sage for the ACA defaults. We're going to go through some employee settings, and we're going to look at some ACA reports, and then we're going to show you how to file the 1094s using Aatrix. At the end, we're leave some room for some questions as well. Okay, so per the IRS instructions for 1094s and 1095s for B and C, depending on what type of responsibility you have, that determines your which filing you will do. So you'll need to look at this publication. Here's a snippet of a bit of it, but you will need to look at the publication to determine which form you need to file. Okay, so just a quick tidbit there. Okay, so let's get into the payroll module. And overall, when you're setting up payroll or you're getting ready to, let's say you're newly required to file 1094s, you want to make sure some things are set up a certain way. So first place you want to go is you want to go into payroll settings here. And you'll see ACA settings down here at the bottom. And you want to make sure some of these default coverages are filled out. This will help with any filings we do where so you don't have to go to each employee record and set these in most cases. Okay, so the different codes and your plan share amount, these will be determined by the IRS codes. So if you read those instructions, they will help you determine which different codes you need here. So just be aware you want to come into here and pick your different options here. Okay. Now the default plan share cost, if you use the help menu, it'll tell you, but this is like the lowest plan cost that you would fill in there. The lowest cost plan, excuse me. So, but read the directions, refer to the IRS, or if you need to talk to an advisor, your tax advisor, make sure you come in here and set some of these defaults. Okay. Okay. The next place we're going to go look at an employee and look at their setup here. And we're going to explain the ACA coverage tab. So if you hit list here, you go down to, let's go down to Steve. If we look at his ACA coverage, his ACA exempt status here is full-time. Okay, so what that means is in the next step we go through, he is going to be reported on the 1095s, and because he is considered full-time. Okay, the other options are not exempt, which means that person will also get reported. This status is used if they are a part-time employee, and you might need to fill out hours by month in this wizard, or have the system calculate your monthly hours, which I'll explain how that works, because they are not considered full-time. Okay. Full-time is considered 30 or more hours a week per the IRS. So you want to make sure if you have a part-time person that may or may not work those hours per month on average, you want to get here so you can fill out your hours per month. Also, seasonal people might be here or they might be here. Okay. Again, talk to your tax advisors and such if you need help on any of the statuses. Okay. Now, if they're not working anymore, they're laid off or on leave or something, you can change it to not working status. Okay. All right. Now, the coverage code here would default from payroll settings, but also you could come in here and make changes if you really want to on the employee record. Okay. Other than that, you want to focus on getting this status right up here so that it pulls through in the reporting correctly. Okay, so let's look at another person. Let's look at him. So I've got John Smith as not exempt. So when we look at the wizard, you're going to see the difference here of how this how it will populate in. So we're going to look at him on the wizard because he is different than the others. Okay, so just pointing that out. All right. Let's get out of here. So a few reports you might want to utilize to see what you have in the system and what the wizard and what the report or what the hours are going to report like. There's a few reports in here. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you here is if you enter in your time into Sage and you have a date on your time entries. Okay, so you can enter in payroll with just a period end date without entering time. This report then would not be the report to use. The one when you want to use this is when you use time entry and you have dates on your time. Okay, so a few things here. The only show ACA pays. If I have that checked and I don't have one of my pays set up with this checkbox, it will not pull through the hours related to this pay. So you may or may not want to have that on, but what you should do is go through your pays and determine if you want to have this checkbox on or not. Okay, so you need to go through and check mark any pay that you would want to include that on. Okay, so again, here only show non-exempt employees, another checkbox. If you have full-time on the employee record, on the ACA coverage, here, it will not show up if that is checkmarked. Okay, so it's only going to show the non-exempt people. If you 1009, for example, if you have that checkmarked. Okay, so let's just see what this looks like. Okay, so I've got 101. I've got him marked as non-exempt, and I have only ACA pays showing. So you can see very limited data. So you might want to open it up to see, okay, what did I pay people? And do I need to turn some things on for my include an ACA hours checkbox on my pay setup? Okay. So if we scroll down to the end here, you can see it totals and it gives you information by person, by month. Okay, so this can help fill out your your monthly, hourly totals by person in the wizard. Only if you're using time entry and dates on the time entry. Okay. So another report, so let's say you're not using time entry. There is another report in here. Oops. That can be utilized for that scenario. So let's say you do not utilize the time entry function here. You're just entering in checks with the period and date. You're going to want to run the timesheet report. And here it will give you by employee, by period and date, the units that you have for each specific time period. Now, it's sorted in date, or it's sorted by employee, and it has a split here by each month. So you can see you will have to either dump this to Excel to sum up your hours for the month, or create a subtotal on this report in order to work through this specific scenario where you're using period end dates only. Okay, but this is the report that would work to get you the information you need. Okay. So now let's go into the wizard to see how this all comes together. So as you can see, there's an ACA compliance and a federal e-file and reporting. Okay, so ACA compliance is the wizard that is going to help you put the information in. But in order to file, we're going to come down here when we're done and run Aatrix and run the ACA 1094s, 1095s to file here. Okay, but first we need to come here to get the wizard up and running. Okay, so here is your wizard for all of the employees that are active, since I haven't check marked include terminated. And as you can see, the full-time people that are marked full-time in my employee setup in the ACA coverage tab are grayed out. So all full-time employees will have a default 130 hours per month. Okay, unless you designate otherwise in their employee setup. Okay, so if we scroll down here, the man, John Smith, he is marked as not exempt. So he's a part-time guy. So I have to come in here and fill in his hourly, or his hours by month. Okay, and one of the two reports that I ran would help me to determine that. So either the timesheet report here, if you're not using time entry, or the daily time entry by month report here. Okay. So let's say you do use daily time, you are using time entry, and you want the system to automatically fill in the totals by month. You can use this use daily distributions button to fill in the hours for the part-time people. Okay. So if I clicked it and I said yes to this, it's going to fill out time for these people based on what is in the system for the month. Okay. So just know that that's a time saver right there. Again, you might want to run the reports to determine if you match up, but that would be the report to run if you're using time entry. Okay. So filled in some hours for this person. I've also got this other part-time person. Fill in some hours here. Okay. Another thing before we go to the next screen, these little dots over here. So let's say Steve Johnson here. I know in December, maybe he wasn't working. So you could come in here and change it in the wizard here to not working. Okay, so there is some functionality in the wizard to make changes as needed by month. Okay, so the employee setup ACA coverage tab will get you the the default status for the whole year where they're at that time. But if you need to change it for a month, you need to use the three dots and come in here and change your statuses. Okay. Okay, so let's say we're good with most everybody's full time. We had a couple part time people. We're good with how this looks. We're going to hit save. And now we are done with the input of what the wizard, when we file, what that's going to spit out. Okay, so we're going to close this. And now we are ready to go into our federal e-file and reporting. Okay, so it's a new report for the year. Say we're in January and we're ready to file. And depending on, again, which form you need to provide, you're going to pick one of these two up here. Okay, I'm going to use my 2015 data. That's what I have with my sample. And it's just warning me my form years don't match up, but that's okay. So we're just doing sample. It's going to load. Okay, it went behind somewhere. Give me a second. Let's just try and run that again. Okay, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, it pre-filled in all of my data from the prior wizard. So names, socials, addresses. If you scroll over, you can see some of the other information over here. Okay, so in here, you should be pretty well complete with getting ready or being ready to file. So the prior wizard we were on here should have gotten you where you needed to be. So we can just hit next up here. Now you notice like I didn't have origin codes on the employees. So need to, now the default was set up, but it was set up after the employees were created. So I'm just going to come in here and fill in some of these. Just to show you the next screen here. Actually, let's just go back and pick just a few employees here. Okay. Let's just pick a few. Go down here. Now I only use a single data file. I don't have multiple payroll current files. So if you do have multiple files, you'll have to merge them together. Fill in just some basic info here. Now you might want to truncate if you don't want your social showing on the form. So you can pick one of those. Okay, so let's just work with a few here. So we've got our policy origin codes in there now. It doesn't like the social, so let's make up a little bit better one. This fake person. Okay, we're going to hit next. And you can see here that there is some additional information that was not filled out for John Smith. So he was someone I just added before this live stream. So it wants me to tell the system, what do you want to do with him? So here in this wizard, you can also make some changes as well. So I'm just going to say he's full-time, all periods. Okay, so we're going to say all to that. Oops. Well, let's take him off since he appears to have an issue at the moment. So we're going to show you the next screen that comes up. Okay, so let's see what errors we get this time, if any. Well, it's not giving us a very clear detail of what this error means, so I'm going to have to troubleshoot that and put that on the live stream, why this is getting stuck here. But the next screen will give you a preview of what your 1095s look like, your 1094 cover sheet. So unfortunately, I can't get to the next screen to show you, but what you can do is then print those out. You can review them. You can make sure all the boxes are checked appropriately. But if you have full-time employees and just a few part-times, most of the boxes all the boxes will be checked for full-time, or the all box as was shown. And your full-time people will have check boxes where they had coverage that was required there. Okay, where they were full-time. So what you want to do is definitely test this out before year end, because I'm having an issue where I can't get through. And make sure that you can at least get to pre-filing, right before you can file, at least get to that next screen. So I am going to check with Kylie here and see if we have any questions in general on ACA. I'm going to try and resolve this issue and let you know what's happening here. And if you have any questions, reach out to help@bangertinc.com. And we can assist you further. Again, I'll post the issue with this specific error in the live stream. And Kylie says we have no questions at the moment. So again, I will let you know how to get to this next spot and what this error was. And thank you for joining today.